Your monitoring dashboard displays green check marks across every single microservice node. Meanwhile, thousands of your real paying customers are getting mysterious 500 internal server errors. This dangerous illusion is called a gray failure, and it exposes the fundamental flaw of traditional active probing. An active probe sends artificial test requests to a health endpoint like /healths at fixed time intervals. If the endpoint returns 200, okay, the orchestrator assumes the entire application instance is completely fine and healthy. But in reality, that simple ping handler only tests if the web framework itself is still responding to requests. It completely misses exhausted database connection pools, deadlocked background worker threads, and third party API timeout cascades. The synthetic traffic path almost never matches the complex query path that real paying users traverse every second. Engineering teams often react to this by increasing probe frequency, sending synthetic requests every single second across hundreds of nodes. Now, 50 load balancer workers are hammering your application with hundreds of probes per second during peak traffic volume. This creates a self inflicted denial of service attack where probe traffic consumes 25% of available CPU capacity. So, slow response times trigger probe timeouts, causing Kubernetes to kill healthy pods and trigger catastrophic cascading reboot storms. Passive observation flips this entire model on its head by monitoring real user traffic instead of synthetic pings. Instead of generating artificial requests, proxies like Envoy inspect real HTTP response status codes and network socket drops continuously. When an application instance starts returning consecutive 500 errors, passive outlier detection immediately ejects that host from the pool. Modern eBPF kernel tracing observes TCP connection resets and latency spikes right at the socket layer with zero sidecar overhead. Because passive observation evaluates actual customer transactions, it catches subtle gray failures that synthetic probes miss entirely. Furthermore, it imposes zero additional computational load on your application processes during heavy production traffic spikes. However, relying purely on passive observation introduces a critical vulnerability known as the cold start catch 22. When a brand new container instance boots up at night, passive observation has zero incoming traffic metrics to evaluate health. If you route live traffic to an unwarmed container immediately, the very first real customer experiences a slow cache miss timeout. Passive observation requires a statistically significant volume of failed user requests before it realizes an instance is actually broken. Top engineering teams solved this conundrum by pairing active probing and passive observation into a unified hybrid health checking architecture. They use lightweight active readiness probes strictly for boot-up sequence gates to ensure containers are fully warmed before receiving traffic. Once an instance passes readiness and joins the load balancing pool, passive outlier detection takes over real-time traffic monitoring. This hybrid strategy eliminates probe storm overhead while guaranteeing that broken nodes get ejected long before your customers even notice.